thanks for having us, Ryan. And I'm joined by Mary and Patrick. And to everybody that's joining us tonight. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And some familiar faces. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. I know that some of you all we were just talking to. So yeah, we're having a meeting marathon tonight. So for those who don't know, we wanted to just start with letting you know who ProtectPT is. So we are a nonprofit organization dedicated to ensuring residents' safety, security, and quality of life by engaging in education and advocacy to protect economic, environmental, and legal rights of people in Westmoreland and Allegheny counties. And so we started as really a group of neighbors getting together back in 2014 when the first well pad was proposed in our community, new shale gas development. First it was 2, then it was 4, 7, and now it is currently around 12. So we are working to educate folks to make sure that they have the information to be able to protect themselves. We also work to empower residents to get involved in local government and speak up on issues that are important to them and teach them how to do that, as well as engaging our local lawmakers directly with local meetings and hearings, getting involved at local hearing boards when new development happens in our community to really ensure the best protection for the residents. So we are here today because we have this new mobile app, but we wanted to start out by asking a question. Would you know how to report this? So is this something that you would know? And Ryan, I'm gonna ask you to answer for the audience. Would you know how to report this?
No, I wouldn't. And this has happened for me in the past where I've seen something and had no idea, even though this is like something that I think about and talk about with people on a regular basis.
Yeah, so this is one of the things that we're going to talk about today. How people report seeing things in their community that they know are wrong. They know are causing environmental harms. They know are maybe causing health harms. And how do you address that? How do you, report those different things? And you do that through what we've developed. We've developed a new tool that we're going to talk about tonight, which is our monitoring mobile app. And so we wanted to start off by really kind of downloading the problem, getting to the heart of the problem and why we decided to do this in the first place. So the problem is, why is it so hard to report these environmental harms? As we saw on the last screen, there are things that you might notice in your community and you just don't know how to do, you don't know how to report them. It's not always easy to find where to report these things to and who to report them to. You also you might know or might not know that each agency is charged with overseeing really specific areas of environmental areas. So residents need to know which agency or which jurisdiction each agency works in and how to navigate that system. And it's a really difficult system to navigate. Residents don't always have the time to look up information to file a complaint. So things go unreported all the time because you might see something and think, oh my gosh, that's a horrible thing that's happening. And I know this is an environmental harm, but I just don't have time to look up who to complain to or who do I tell? And so it just slips your mind. So lots of things go unreported. And because we have state and local agencies that are always underfunded and always inundated with new permits happening all the time, things go undetected, and those things can cause serious and sometimes lifelong detriment to our environment without us really understanding what the issues really are. So we want residents to be able to file complaints and have that information at their hands, at their fingertips. Some apps already do exist that try to solve this problem. And those apps are really wonderful. There's a lot of great tools out there. This app has a little different purpose. So there are apps that report to specific government agencies. There's a really cool app called the Smell Pittsburgh app. And that app actually, if you're in Pittsburgh, will send a message of a smell alert to the Department of Environment or the Department of Health. But it only sends to the Department of Health. It only sends to Allegheny County because it's very specific for Pittsburgh. And so they're hyper-focused. So we're hoping that our app will fill the gaps where some of these other apps, might have a different purpose, that this one really, we have a problem that we see that exists and we're trying to solve it with this app. So why did we create the app? Right? So reporting environmental impacts to proper agencies can be really confusing and time consuming, which we already went over that's a problem. So we created this app so we can solve that problem. Many impacts go unreported because residents don't know the best agencies to report them to. So again, this app is meant to solve that issue. Even when impacts are reported to DEP or another agency, groups like ProtectPT and other organizations that are working in our region and our state, we can't follow up because we don't know when you've reported these issues. We don't know if you've reported these issues. So for us to be able to find that information, it's like a needle in a haystack. So these are problems that this app is hoping to solve. And we created the app because sometimes residents don't know what they're experiencing is an actual reportable violation, or that their health might be impacted by what they're seeing or experiencing. And if residents are using ProtectPT or another resource to monitor their community impacts, such as air monitoring or noise monitoring, this app can actually be used in tandem with that data gathering technology. So we can use both technologies and pair the real experiences of the resident with what's actually happening on the device that might be in your front yard or hanging, we have them, I've got a purple air on the back of my house. If I can log in when those spikes in air quality are poor and why those spikes are happening, then we can see what is actually attributing to the spikes in air quality. And so this app gives residents the ability to easily file their own report. And so they have filed before or not. So they can see other reports that they filed, and we can see reports that they filed as well. And so we can contact residents after that and find out what the result of their reporting was to an agency. And then we can contact the agency too and do what's called a right to know request and get that information from the agency and then connect the dots that way. So why is our app unique? Because, like I said, there are other great apps out there that are doing similar things, but the goal is a little bit different. Our app is unique because it's a mobile responsive link. So this is not just an app you'll find on the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You're not going to find it there, but what you will find it is on any browser, on any computer, or any device. So you don't have to have a special device. You don't have to have a smartphone. You can have you can be looking on your iPhone or your tablet. You can look on any device, a Samsung device or an Apple device. You can look on a computer, a desktop computer. No matter how old it is, you'll be able to bring up this app and be able to report your incident. And so this really, this was important to us when developing the app, to make sure that it was accessible to as many people as possible. So accessibility was a big factor in how we developed this app. And you don't have to worry about compatibility issues. my son had an older iPad, and he went to go download one of his favorite games and found that it was no longer available because his iPad just didn't support the updates that the app had made. And that was a real bummer. So we don't have to worry about updates that Apple makes to their Apple Store. It's also really costly. We have talked in a previous lunch and learn about how we have developed this app, and it's actually up until now been such a low cost. We had volunteers do most of the work on the app, so it's really exciting. So for an organization like us to be able to have this type of tool to be able to give to the public and not really cost a ton to us to do, it's a huge advantage. And so our app guides users through the process of creating a report that connects the dots between those real life impacts to environmental harms and the next steps on reporting to agencies and to your medical professionals. So if you're experiencing something like dust or debris in the air and it's causing some health impact, you might not know that when you first start your report, but by the time you go through your report, the app is going to prompt you, and it has some redundancies built in place to try to gather information in a really smart and logical way. So you can say, well, wait a minute, maybe I am having these health impacts and I didn't really realize that what was happening around me in my environment is potentially contributing to them. So then you can print your report and take it to the doctor and say, okay, so, the doctor sometimes will say, well, if you're having these symptoms, what were you doing to cause that, when these symptoms came about? And sometimes the best thing to do is to keep a diary. Well, this is like an electronic diary, and you can just print the report when it's time to go to the doctor and show them all the times that you were impacted and what was in your environment that could potentially be contributing to this. And it just helps, it helps connect those dots. And we did get some great advice from some of our partners who are public health professionals to make sure that the health impacts were stated and organized in a way that health professionals would really be able to recognize very quickly, and organized quickly, the way that they would think about it from a public health perspective. So the goals of our app, we wanted to provide a really comprehensive resource where residents could record their observations, find step-by-step guidance on exactly how and where to report the environmental harm, and be able to print and share all observations from one place. And we're going to do some demonstration in a little while about how to go about doing that, and it's actually a really cool thing to look at. We also wanted to give residents a resource that they could use at any time, anywhere, on any device, and be very accessible. And we wanted to provide ProtectPT ourselves with enough information to be able to follow these resident complaints and follow up. So those were some of our main goals, and I think we've accomplished all of those goals with this app. And we'd love your input, after you've used the app and after you see how it works. We're always happy to have input along the way, to try to make improvements to the app. So now I'm gonna just walk through, a little demonstration, and I'm going to have to try to share my other screen here. Give me 1 second here. Before we move on, Ryan, do you have any questions so far, or are there any questions in the chat that maybe I didn't see?
I don't see any questions in the chat yet. But I guess I just want to emphasize, it's really cool that you can just access this through a web browser on your phone instead of having to download an app. It's just going to the website. So I guess my question is, can I use this on a desktop computer as long as I have the link?
You can, yeah.
Great. So all we need to know is there's a link, and that's how you open the app.
Yes, that's right.
Great.
And there it goes. I was going to say
Nice.
earlier today. All right. Okay, so this is my phone I'm sharing.
There is a question about, does this app work in Penn Township, or would this work anywhere in the state?
So this works anywhere in the state, and I'm going to show you kind of how that works. It's really cool. So yeah, so actually, if no matter wherever you're chiming in from, wherever you're listening from today, go ahead and put your zip code in the chat for me. And those are my kids. All right, so I'll go back. This is what the app looks like right here. What it looks like when it's on your phone. Looks like a mobile app, right? It looks like an app you download from the App Store. Well, all it is a website. And the website is really easy to remember. It's report, because you're going to report something. Report.protectpt.org. And so the first time you go to the site, it's going to look like this. I would highly suggest you actually save it to your phone screen. And I'll show you how to do this. Now, there's different browsers, and different browsers have different, and different phones have different ways of doing this. But we actually have developed a really quick tip sheet to be able to do this. And all you have to do is go to this little arrow down below, this little guy right here, and you just click on him. And if you scroll up, you'll see where it says add to my home screen. And just add your home screen. And then it's going to pop up, whoops, with the information here. And you just go up and hit add. And then it's right there. See? You can see all my all my apps on my screen. I'm going to delete it because I already have it and I don't want it. And actually, look, check this out. I also have the Frac Tracker app, which is another cool app. We actually talked to Frac Tracker to find out, would we want our app to be similar? What capabilities does this app have that, because we didn't want to duplicate efforts, but, and this is a cool app. But our app has that extra reporting function. And I'll show you that right now. Okay, so when you go to the home page, this is what it's going to look like. If you're on a computer screen, it's just going to be bigger, just a bigger screen. And so you have a couple options. You can register if it's the first time if you use the app. You can also sign in through your email. You can sign in through your Google email. And then coming soon, we did have it on here, and then we had to update our privacy policy. We're just waiting for Facebook to approve that. And then there'll also be a Facebook link, so you can sign in just like you would sign in through your Facebook account, sign in through your Google account, so you don't have to remember your password or have a separate password to sign in. But I'm going to go ahead and sign in here. And again, I just hit the sign in button and I'll put in my email, and I just have a test email. And password. And then I hit sign in. Now, we are going to develop a little how-to video here. We're also going to have more lengthy how-to videos on our YouTube and on our website. So if you ever get lost or forget how to use it, don't worry, we've got your back. We'll have videos to explain it. And of course, this video will also be available. So you're going to go ahead and record a new observation. All right, so the next thing it's going to do is it's going to ask you who you are. And of course, up at the top, because this is not meant to report in case of an emergency. If there's an emergency, call 911. If you see a well pad fire, call 911. That's not what this tool is for. You can also report once you're to safety, but we would want to make sure you were saved first and foremost. All right, so you're gonna put your information in, which I already did. So it saved my information. And remember, I asked you to put your zip codes in. So let me go to the chat really quick and see who has a zip code in here. All right, so Lois, her zip code 15146 that she put in. And that is in Allegheny County. And 15044. Also Allegheny County. Hey, anybody not in Allegheny County right now? Let me see. Someone asked, do you have a document that summarizes all the features on your app? You know what? That's a really good question. I don't know if we do. That's something we can do. Let me see. 15668. Now, I noticed there's somebody from Ohio in here. Let me see. I don't think it's going to pull up your information right now because we only have the counties pre-filled for Pennsylvania, but that's something we could add. We could talk to our coder about adding that. So let me go back, and then we also have someone in 15085, which is Westmoreland County. Let me go back to 15221, and that's in Allegheny County. So you see, depending on what county in Pennsylvania you're in, you can, it'll tell you what county you're in based on your zip code. Haha, I'm from York County. I just remembered my old zip code from my childhood. 17349. So you can see it looks at your zip code information and gives you your county, which is important for down the road. Okay, so we're going to go back to Westmoreland County. You can see if you click on the county, you can actually scroll to your county and put it in like that. Let's put in Westmoreland. And then you can hit complete. All right, now it's going to ask you, are you tracking an independent observation, or are you reporting an independent observation? What that means is basically, are you doing this without doing any kind of data gathering with ProtectPT? Because if you were doing data gathering with ProtectPT, you would either be part of a baseline study or you'd be part of a development study. So you either already know that you're doing a study with ProtectPT because you have the monitoring equipment in your yard, you've signed up for our monitoring programs, and so you know you're collecting the data. And so this can be used in tandem with that monitoring effort, or you can do an independent observation. So wherever you are, you can click an independent observation. So that's what we're going to do today. And we're going to go ahead and hit complete. And this is pretty cool. So it's asking me, it's telling me the website report.protectpt.org would like to use your location, your current location. And so can you click allow to allow it? So what it's going to do, let's say I mistyped something and I didn't have the right information in. If I hit allow, it's actually going to be able to pull my GPS location. I still could say, no, I want to save this as my home, or I can use my current GPS location. And if I say use my current GPS location, then what happens is it pulls that data from my phone and puts it into my report, which is really cool, right? Let's say you live in one address, but you're on your way to work and you notice something on your way to work and you want to tell us about that. So you're going to use your GPS location. You might not know what road you're on. You might not know exactly where you are, but the GPS location is going to tell us exactly where you saw that. And then we can follow up with agencies and say, these are the coordinates. We can look at the infrastructure on DEP maps of what infrastructure is around there. All right, so what are you going to report today? So today I'm going to report that I saw truck traffic and dust on the road. There's lots of dust. And we're going to go through kind of like what a general reporting would look like. And check this out. I can, any one or all of these, I can check, and that's what it's going to let me report on. So I'm going to continue. And then it says, okay, we're going to start your spill observation or dust or debris. Is that what you want to do? And you hit continue. And then we're going to describe exactly what's going on. So, I saw some excess road dust, dust on a well pad. The trucks were driving on it. Maybe I saw one of the trucks actually releasing some fluid from the truck. And I saw some water erosion. And so I'm going to hit continue. And then it's asking me about a truck observation. So I hit continue. And what traffic changes are you reporting? So, there's damage on the road, there's excessive noise, there's excessive idling. Yep, I saw that. I saw lots of truck emissions and excessive traffic, which we often see around oil and gas infrastructure, right? These are things that we typically see around oil and gas infrastructure. So anybody that has eyes can see that these things are happening. And so you can just click on the whatever's happening in your neck of the woods. Hit continue. And then if you want to mention anything else, you can mention something else, or you can just hit continue. So check this out. So there's built-in redundancies. You just reported that there was truck noise, but on the first screen, you didn't click noise. But because you reported that there was truck noise, it wants to know, do you want to enter a noise pollution observation? Because you just told us that there was a lot of noise. And you know what? Yeah, I would like to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. And this was really loud noise. Was it as loud as a jackhammer? Probably not, but it was really loud. It was probably about as loud as a motorcycle. So what we tried to do here, there are really specific noise standards. And so in our noise monitoring program, when you go and do a program with us, there are a set of noise standards that are kind of ubiquitous with specific types of decibel levels. And so we have tried to outline some of those for you and given you some guidance as to what is similar to those sounds that you might be experiencing. This was a really loud sound. And I don't know if it was 90 decibels, but if there was a motorcycle going past me, it was about as loud as that. So I'm going to go ahead and say motorcycle 90 decibels. And that'll give us an idea about how loud it is. Versus if you hear like a soft whisper or maybe the hum of a refrigerator, that's a very different type of a sound. And then maybe I want to describe the sound. Noisy trucks. Going to and from the well pad. Pretty common, hundreds a day. Hit continue. Now, were any of my daily activities interrupted because of this? I don't live near I don't work near the well site, so no, it wasn't. But maybe my sleep was disturbed at night because I live near the well site and those trucks are going all the time. So I'm going to go ahead and hit sleep disturbance. Is that noise affecting my health at all? Well, no, I don't think so. So I'm going to hit no, or you could just leave it blank. And then, well, okay, so you said that there was dust in the air from the truck. And so you selected air pollution related to the truck. Well, I didn't realize that dust was actually called air pollution. So again, we have built-in redundancies in here to make sure that you can adequately understand what you're seeing and experiencing. And yeah, there was a lot of dust coming from the road, and I didn't really realize that dust could be considered air pollution. And, you know, I didn't really realize it at the time, but my nose was irritated and my eyes were irritated from all this dust. And then do I have an observation? So I'm just going to try to pull something. We tried to download some stuff in advance, but there. So if you go into the into the air pollution part of it, there is the smoke, dust, fire, odor as a suggestion, as a topic. So yeah, I'm gonna add some media. So I'm gonna add a picture. So you can go ahead and upload a picture. And I'm just gonna choose something from, so if I click on that choose file, it's gonna take me to my photo library, or I can take a picture of it. So you know what, I'm gonna take a picture just so we have it. That's kind of interesting, right? That's what my desktop looks like right now. And I want to use this photo. So you can use that photo right there. Or you can choose a file. Let's say you want to upload one and then you also have a file. I was taking pictures of the hummingbirds outside today. And I'm going to upload that file too. And it didn't upload that file. I wonder why. Maybe because I already have one picked. All right, we'll have to check with our developer to find out if you can upload more than one, because I would think you would be able to. Mary or Patrick, will you make a note of that? You see it.
Yeah, I'll make a note of that. And something that had come up in the questions, comments, someone had asked, is there a mechanism to report something elsewhere else when, for example, say you're on your way to work, can't mess with your phone while you're driving, and you want to report after you arrive at your destination?
Yes.
Yeah, so I thought maybe we could just cover that really quickly.
Yeah. So there in the beginning that you had a choice. You could pick your GPS location, or you could pick another location, your home or a different location. So you can pick whatever location you want to pick to be able to report this. And absolutely, we don't want you to be trying to report something when you're driving. So just, you know, try to keep an eye out for maybe where you were when this happened. When you get to work, you might be able to look it up, you know, approximate location and on Google and try to be able to put that in there as well. And so you're going to upload your file and it's successfully uploaded. Okay, so I've added my media and then I'm going to go ahead and hit done. And it tells me my media has been added. And you reported having health effects related to this observation. Have you sought out a medical professional about this? No, I haven't, because this just happened. Continue. And then it gives me my report. So I can review these. I can make changes to my report. Or I can go ahead and hit submit. Then it tells me I've submitted. Now, what's my next step? Well, I can print my report. And if I want to give this report to my medical professional, I can do that. I can save it and share it by email if I want to. And it asks you if you're interested in noise monitoring. And so Stephen is working on switching this around because we thought that this belonged up here. And so he's working on that under next steps. But this is where you report. So we're going to report the issue to an agency, right? And so what it's doing is based on the report that I made, it's telling me that I need to consider sending this to the Department of Environmental Protection. And then there's also other resources here. There's a National Response Center. Issues related to dust and debris and pollution, I want to send to the Department of Environmental Protection. So it's going over, because you reported certain things, in your report, it's prompting you to take a next step to report it to the environmental health or in the Department of Environmental Protection, because and then again with the truck traffic, you might want to report that to the Department of Transportation. There's also a Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, depending on what the violation was. So I'm going to go ahead and click. So you can see based on what you reported, it's pulling up the information that you need to take your next step to report it to the appropriate agency based on what you reported. So if I go there, here's the complaint form. I can fill this out right from my phone. I can pre-enter my information if I want and fill out this complaint. Then if I want to follow up, when I hit submit, I should be able to get an email that says that I submitted a complaint to the Department of Environmental Protection. I just go back to, it's right here. I say it saved my place, because again, it's just a website. So it's going to save my place where I was. And I'm going to print my form. I want to continue, and I can print my report. And that's what your report's going to look like. So it's going to, so see, and somebody asked about observation location. So this is the reporting information here. This is the person that reported my information, but this is the location that I reported. Again, that sometimes can be different, because if you're on your way to work and you see something, the observation location is going to be different from potentially your location. Everything that I reported, my noise report, my air report, dust and debris, truck traffic, and some of the health impacts. No, I didn't seek medical professional, but I did upload some files, and who to contact. Again, it's prompting you want to contact the DEP. So then I can print this out if I want. Here. Or if I wanted to, I could, well, it won't let me do it from here. I can save it as a PDF. And if I go back to the app and look at the menu up here, right here, you can see all of your submitted reports. Or you can submit a report, like a new report. You can go to your past reports. So you can see I actually submitted one earlier today. And I submitted some a couple days ago. All of my reports that were submitted. And then let's say I want to learn more about ProtectPT's resources. I maybe want to learn more about air monitoring so I can monitor the air near my house. This will take me right to ProtectPT's website on air monitoring. And again, you just go back to here to click to find where you were, your report, the complaint form, and back to the mobile app. And so you can pull down resources for each one of these different types of pollution. We also have regional resources depending on where you live, which Southwest Regional Office. So if you wanted to contact the office directly, because that complaint form actually goes to a clearinghouse, it goes to like the main DEP, and then they disperse it to the different regional offices. So if you're not getting an answer right away, you can call one of these offices. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing. Well, actually, I'll keep sharing for now, and we'll answer some questions.
Yeah, so we had one question come in about media and video. So correct me if I'm wrong, Jillian, but video can be uploaded. It's just a matter of the size limit. So as long as it's within the size limit, it'll upload. It's just a matter of keeping it within that size limit. And on that screen, If you all recall, there was that email info@protectpt.org. So if you ever try to upload something and it's not quite uploading properly, you can always send it to that email.
Yeah, I want to say it was like 100 megabytes. That was
Yeah, I thought Stephen had updated that recently. So I think it's a pretty sizable limit now, but there definitely, still could be a chance that something might not upload.
Lois asks, let's say I tried to register for this with my Gmail, but now I'm using my iPhone to report. Seeing my Gmail come up, does it present a problem? No. So you could still, so even if it will remember if you logged in with your Gmail, no matter what phone you're using, I'm using an iPhone. It will give you, see, this is my iPhone. It will give you, you can log in with your Gmail. It doesn't matter what device you're on. You can pick whatever way you want to log in. And that's just really, whoop, I turned it on its side. That's interesting. I've never done that before. So, and this actually shows, this is really kind of cool. This shows the responsiveness. So I just turned my phone on its side. So it did not, it changed the orientation automatically for me to make sure that everything fits on the screen the way it's supposed to, based on how I'm using my phone.
Nice.
Okay, Scoot.
There's a great question from Doreen about, what's the overall benefit of the app? And I know you covered that a little bit at the beginning, but I think, would you speak to that again, like compared to some of the other reporting options that we might have?
Yeah. So a lot of the benefits of the app and okay, really. Sorry, my daughter's trying to play. Here, and actually, let's go back to the presentation real quick, because I think that that's a really important question.
I even think like part of this question might even be like the benefit of reporting in general. And
Okay.
just being able to like really like report in a really solid way.
Yes.
Coordinates and time and all the things that you've done to make it like really, really well structured, well documented.
Yeah, so reporting, and we go over a lot of this in our home resource guide. If you've ever been to one of our home resource guide workshops, which we're going to have one, but in September, so that's on our website. But and you can learn more about that. But we go over, we take a lot of time trying to educate folks on how to report things, take pictures, make sure you note date and time, make sure you do, make sure you write down any kind of, license plate numbers or tag numbers, or, we've got a whole section in our home resource guide devoted to how to report and document complaints. But this does it for you all in one simple package. And it's super important, because if it goes unnoticed or unreported by you, and you live in a community and other people don't know how to report it, it's not going to be reported. And then you could have a spill happen and no one ever reports that spill happened. And that spill, based on the current reports that we've that have been coming out recently. There was one that's just came out with PSR of the PFAS chemicals. I know the Harm Network did a presentation on that. NRDC actually just had a report that came out about called a hot fracking mess, talking about the fracking industry's radioactive waste. If you see a waste truck and it's coming from a well pad and it's leaking stuff, it could be leaking radioactive waste. And that's something you'd want to report. But if you don't know how to report it and you don't know what to report, then you're not going to be able to do it. And so this app will allow you to do that effectively and quickly and easily, where you can do it. It takes a couple minutes and you move on with your day. I also will mention too, on the back end, you've gone on with your day, but we're getting your report and people are actually looking at your report. Our environmental scientist is looking at your report, and we're going to look at that and follow up with you if necessary. Or if it's something that, this is data that we're going to collect as part of a study, we're going to collect that data. And when you're finished with a study with ProtectPT, you actually get a really comprehensive report of all of your on the ground observations, all of your observations that are data collected, our device collected, and it all gets packaged into one report that you can use either at the local government level or at the DEP level, depending on what you're monitoring for. I hope that answered your question.
We had another question come in the chat. Can you send a report to more than one agency?
You can, yeah. And actually, if you scroll through, it will tell you all the different agencies you can report to. So you could see, and actually I can go back and share my other screen again, if it'll let me. Oh, there we go. And so here's my report. Let me go back. I'm going to look at my past reports and I can see this report I submitted. And I can print that, but then I can go to our resources page. Let's say I submitted my report and I forgot who to send an email to. I could go back to our resources page, and I remember that I reported on dust and debris and pollution. So boom, right here, so in the state of Pennsylvania, for dust, debris, and pollution, the governing agency, the agency with jurisdiction to do something about your complaint is the Department of Environmental Protection. Let's say I were reporting on pollution, water pollution. With water, there's lots of different places. So there's Fish and Boat. A lot of times when you report something to DEP, it's going into their system. They might not get to it for another couple of days, but if you call the Fish and Boat Commission, I just clicked on the number up above and it's prompting me to call them right here. If you click on their website, it's prompting me to do a regional report right here. And so I can look and I can see based on this map that I am in the Southwest region. And then I can report. I can file a report right here. And I can make that phone call if I need to. Because Fish and Boat is going to get there a lot quicker sometimes than DEP. And so if I forgot where those resources are, I can just go to the resources page and it comes up with all of the resources that I need. There's that Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration for health impacts. Here are the different regions of the DEP offices. Let me go back. And actually for health impacts, we should also have the Department of Health on there. Regional DEP offices. So we encourage you to, scroll around and really look at the app, and we're happy to have feedback and get that feedback for folks to be able to improve the app. It doesn't take a lot of time for us to quickly change something, and we want to know if this is going to be an easy thing for you to use. And I think Christina says, so the app reports the info to ProtectPT. Let me see. Then directs you to another website to make a new report. or does it send the app report to the appropriate agency? That's a really good question. So Christina, when we were looking at other apps, one of the issues that came up is that there are apps out there that will report directly to the agency. The problem with this is that the agency, because it's coming from a third party, is not taking those reports seriously. And actually, unfortunately, the Department of Health gets reports all the time from the Smell Pittsburgh app, which is a really great app, and they go ignored because it's coming from a third party, which is why we developed the app the way that we did. Because if it comes directly to you from you, then they have to respond to that. Whereas if it comes from us, it doesn't, they might not respond to it. And so because you're reporting to us and you're reporting to them, we can then use your report and do what's called a right to know request and request the file for that complaint. And then we're able to follow up with the agency. What other? A useful adjunct to this app would be the smoke readers training, which enables graduates to identify opacity. Yes, and you know what, Mary, we did not. So here's the deal. So I know a lot about reading smoke because I was inundated with smoke from my neighbor's home. And we thought about getting super technical with the smoke. And yeah, you can actually go in and submit a report on air pollution. And let's start doing that. But we wanted to make sure that, okay, so I can use, somebody asked this, you can pick your at home, you want to use your current GPS location or an alternative location. So a location that you saw something happening that's not one of these two options. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and pick my current location. And if I go to air pollution, so there is a whole smoke reading program, and it's really cool to be able to go through that program. But the problem is a lot of folks aren't going to know how to go through that program. But what do they teach in that program? They teach you about color, right? So what color is the smoke? It's something that you don't really think about. So let's say the smoke is blue. I've got that color down there. And then am I feeling unwell? One of the things that the smoke reader program also talks about is opacity. We didn't really want to say opacity because we were not sure if people would understand what that meant. But people can submit a photo, which will show a little bit of opacity. And people could write additional things on their observation if they wanted to. So you could write in, yeah, the smoke was blue and it was very opaque. So it wasn't really thick. And that'll give some, or you could do a percentage if you wanted to. And yeah, GAS provides training on this, which is true. Clifford, can you see if other people have reported similar observations? So because of privacy issues, we didn't want to share data. So the cool thing about the Frac Tracker app is that you can see if other people have reported something similar. We're hoping that people will give these independent observations. One of the reasons why is, when we go up against the industry at local hearings, a lot of times we hear that, oh, well, these are self-reported things. These are reports that, maybe a survey was done. And so the industry, a lot of times will, say that is not as valid as an independent observation from a resident. So if we have let's say 5-10 residents making the same observation, they're not knowing that their neighbors are making the same observation. But then we can bring that data to the municipality. We can de-identify that data, so we're not sharing the information of the person that actually made that report, but we're just sharing that that report was made, what was actually made within that report. And we can, and this just goes into a database and into a table, so we can actually get that table information and extract that data however we need to use it. There's a lot of comments. Mary, do you want to see if there's something I'm missing here?
Yeah, let's see. One comment I saw was, how do you follow up with complaints that come from counties that are not under your official purview? Do you try to deal with them yourself or relay them to a group that is already working in the area?
That's a great question. So yeah, so if we know that there's let's say something happens in Chester County, which is all the way on the other side of the state, we will connect with a local organization in Chester County and try to connect that person. So what we'll do is we'll call that person or email them and say, hey, we want to connect you with somebody that can help you more. So we're going to go ahead and if it's okay with you, we're going to share your information with this group that's working in Chester County. Because one of the great things about the work that we do at ProtectPT is we really try to stress the importance of working with other groups. And we work with a lot of groups all around Pennsylvania. So we know a lot of other groups that are working in different areas. And Halt the Harm Network also has an awesome group of leaders. So if we don't know, someone out there knows, we can find out. We can find out who's working and contact that individual and say, hey, do you mind if we share your information with these folks in Beaver? Because, there's a group in Beaver and they're working on this issue around the cracker plant. And we want to make sure that they get your information. And we're actually going to be doing some noise monitoring out in Beaver. And so we're training some people from the partner organization to actually conduct the monitoring. So they're going to be collecting the data, but all they have to do is give the report.protectpt.org to the resident. The resident can go on and be a part of a study, a ProtectPT study with a local organization that's helping to gather the data. So it's really enabling us to all work better together. I know that there are folks that are doing air monitoring around the cracker plant. If we got a lot of reports around the cracker plant, what we would actually do is call those individuals or email them and say, hey, can we connect you with this person that's doing the air monitoring? Then on the back end, we can always, if need be, have one big report that has all of the reports from the cracker plant, all the reports within, a certain amount of miles from the location of the infrastructure. So this data is going to be collected and, really mined for this important information. And then we can, again, call the Department of Environmental Protection. We can do a right to know request to see, what they have been doing. What has the DEP been doing to answer those complaints? And if we find that those complaints were not answered and they were submitted by the resident, then that's when we go the step further to be reporting this to the Attorney General's office. One of the big things that came out last year with the Attorney General's report was the amount of underreported incidents that happened that the DEP should have told the Attorney General's office about that they never did. And so these were criminal acts that the AG's office could have been acting on had they had the information, but they just didn't have it. Now there's a hotline, which is wonderful, but now we can not only hold the operator accountable, but we can also hold the agency tasked with enforcing that law. We can hold them accountable and we can have the actionable data to do it.
That's great. And actually that brings up, so one of the other questions I'd seen in the chat was about where the data is stored. So it's actually, like Jillian said, it's stored privately. It's not available to, your data isn't available to other users. So you don't have to worry about it leaking out or anything. It's stored in a secure location, and, you know, only very specific people have access to that data. And like Jillian said, it is never shared unless we have first actually checked with a resident to make sure it's okay to share their data with a partner organization or something like that.
That's right. Yeah, we have it on a secure server. And our web developer actually is helping to make sure that that all is stored correctly and works correctly, and that we can get the data, because only our staff staff members that would actually be responding to this data actually have access to it.
And another
Nice.
question I see in here is, could you go over the benefit of reporting an environmental harm on the app if the user does not file a report with one of the suggested agencies afterward?
So you can file your report with us. You know, it's the best thing to do to file it with the agency. We're still going to your report. Even if you don't file with the agency, we're still going to get it. And we may actually call you and follow up and say, hey, did you file with the DEP? When did you file? Because that's useful information for us. And if you didn't file, we're going to encourage you to do that. And we're going to say, oh, by the way, we have those pictures. Do you want to send those too? Ryan, did you want to say something?
No, that's awesome. That's great. I just think it's really cool that you're collecting the data. It's like you're providing the convenience of the app, but you're also providing the service of making sure that things are getting reported. Like, it's kind of like, for me, it's like a dream come true to have somebody be like, hey, here's a reminder. Would you file this? Here's another thing that you can do, just to kind of help facilitate that. And it seems like it's an app, but it's so much more. It's like a portal to, you know, your service of helping people. And it's also a way for you as an organization to have like more kind of boots on the ground. Like, we can all be eyes and ears for the kind of like case that you're building to, you know, prove and show the impacts.
That's right. We all live across the state and across different states, and we talk a lot about, you know, building this this watchdogging army of people that are going to be out there in the field looking, you know, watching these operators like a hawk, because we know the agencies aren't doing it right. They don't have the boots on the ground like we do.
Exactly.
So yeah, so we're able to collect all that data in one place. It's like a clearinghouse of all that data. And then, you know, somebody calls us and they say, hey, you know, 6 months ago, I reported something on your app, and I'm trying to remember what I reported. We have that data. We're saving that data. We can give you that data. If you don't have it on, you know, if you forgot your login, if you know, whatever. Also, we have other companion, you know, educational opportunities, and I'm going to pop our upcoming events in the chat, because we're going to have some home resource guide workshops coming up, and those are for anybody. So, you know, the guide is centered around Pennsylvania, but you could really use a lot of the same principles for even if you're outside Pennsylvania. So it's just a really great training. It's a 4-part series, you know, dealing with 4 different parts of complaint and compliance, emergency and disaster preparedness, air and water pollution, and then noise pollution. So, you know, please attend our home resource guide trainings. They're really awesome. And we're hoping that in September, we'll actually have them up, or October, I'm sorry, we're going to have them up online, right, Mary? You have been working with Ryan to get them up in a training series.
Yeah, so they're mostly up, and yeah, I'm sure by October we can definitely get it launched. It was just a few little minor things I needed to update, and then we should be ready to go with that. So it may even be coming out sooner.
Cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
are there any more questions that we need to answer? I know it's 8:07. You guys have been so really amazing with these questions, such in-depth questions. And I see like there are so many people online right now with us that have just such a wealth of knowledge. And so we want to make sure we harness that knowledge as much as possible, you know, and gather that data. And so tell your neighbors, tell your friends about the app, and make sure that they, you know, they can watch this video. We're going to have videos online of how to. Oh yes, Mary put the link in the chat for our survey. Please, please, please. Please. You want to ask a question? Lily wants to ask a question. What do you need?
What if like the website gets hacked or there's too much data and it like dies?
So she asked, what if the website gets hacked or there's too much data? So we do have a lot of storage. We're good on that. And yeah, we have a secure website as well. Voices from an 11-year-old. But in the chat right now, we have our survey. We'd love if you'd take the survey. We have a question about what's going on with the Bacchus pad. Right now, we have no information about what's going on with the Bacchus pad. And actually, I know that they're going to be updating their permits, or they're going to be set to update their permits soon. I could talk to you a little bit more offline about that, Christina. Yeah, definitely give me an email. I think I know exactly who I'm talking to, and it's great to have you here. And so yeah, we're gonna be they're gonna be updating their permits for their erosion and sedimentation, and they don't have any drill and operates yet. So that's really good. And yeah, I have some more information I could share with you offline.
Well, this is fantastic. If there's, I guess the final question is just, you know, do you have an email list or some way that people who aren't already part of ProtectPT can get direct updates from you?
Yeah, so we have an email list. You can sign up on our website, protectpt.org, or you could email us. And actually, I think we had those up on our screen. Sure. Sorry about that, Ryan. It is, I think, up here. So here's all of our information for our staff. We've got our environmental scientist. Yeah, if you're interested in monitoring, we have air and water, or air and noise monitoring. We're also doing some water monitoring around the Plum injection well in Allegheny County. So definitely hit us up if you want some air monitoring or water monitoring. If we can't help you because you're out of our service area, we'll try to connect you with somebody that can. And you can feel free to call us or email us anytime. All of our information's on the screen.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jillian and Mary and Patrick, for coming on and doing this presentation.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan, for having us.
Yeah.
It's great to see everybody, and really thankful that everyone could join us tonight and learn about our monitoring app. I hope you guys like using it and find it really helpful and easy to use.
Awesome. Fantastic. So, and if anybody here is not in Pennsylvania or is connected to organizations outside of Pennsylvania who want to talk more about monitoring, I think it would be really cool to strike up a conversation about this in the network, because there may be some ways that even without an app that you can empower people in your community to sort of help gather data in one place. And I'm a passionate data organizer. I almost said I was a data activist. Maybe I am, but I'm really excited about databases. So if anybody wants to, you know, talk about creating something like this, or, you know, working on this outside of Pennsylvania, I would love to help coordinate that.
Yeah, for sure. And we'd love to talk to folks about how we developed our noise monitoring program, which is really unique to ProtectPT. We're one of the only noise monitoring programs in the country. And we actually, last year, we trained folks in West Virginia. and we lent them our equipment. And we're actually going to do that this year in Beaver, around the cracker plant. We're going to train those folks to use our equipment. They're going to be gathering data for a couple months there in Beaver,
Wow.
however long they want to have the equipment. And then we're going to do the reports, the community reports, and compile all that data for them. So yeah, that's a project we're working on. So if you're interested and you're not too far of a drive from where we are in Westmoreland County, we invite you to come and we could do a training session, and we can lend you our equipment for a little while. Or we can show you how we developed our program, and if you wanted to develop something similar.
Very cool. Well, awesome. So I guess as we wrap up, I just want to invite everybody, if you haven't already, to set up a profile at network.halttheharm.net. I'll put the link in the chat. I think, the way that we're using this is we're building this social platform just so we can stay connected with each other, connect with all the other members of the network, and just build our movement, so that we're sharing resources and staying connected with each other, because many hands make light work. And we certainly need a network-based approach if we're going to take on the oil and gas industry. So yeah, I'll put the link in, and yeah, don't forget to take the survey. I'll put that survey link in the replay email as well, Jillian, just so that we can make sure to get that out there. Fantastic. Well, have a great night, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Have a good night.
Bye.